Hey, it's Time Scark 11 with the latest version of the second largest LEGO MOC that I've ever made. What's the largest? Well, that'll be next week. This is version 4.4 of my model of the Formula Skell from Xenoblade Chronicles X. So it's not an exact replica of the formula, it's more of a custom hybrid formula. Most of it is based off of the Formula Skell, but then the legs and side armor here are taken from the Layla Skell because I just like the design of the Layla's legs better, and because the two main Skells that I always use are the Formula and the Layla. Then it's also got a lot of extra thrusters on it in the back to make it more of a high mobility variant of the Formula, since the main file of X I had a Skell build that was an Evasion Tank Formula Skell, so this is based primarily off of that, kind of the Ace custom Formula Skell based off of the one that I used in-game. So I'll give a 360 view of it, talk about all the weapons on here, and then take the weapons off and show it again without them, and then show the weapons individually. And all the weapons except for one are based off of a weapon in Xenoblade X. Some of them are more exact replicas, others are more just inspired by. So first off, we have the beam rifle. I think it's the Sakuraba beam rifle. A minigun. So this one is more based off of, because, well, it's more or less the exact look of the minigun weapon, but in more consistent coloring instead of the colors that it is in game. Pretty much everything I just made either black or gray or white, even if it's not like that in game, just so it's more consistent with the model. These are some beam missiles. I think the weapon for this was called HB missile. I'm not really sure, I forget that one exactly. This is a chain gun, and also this is much more heavily armed than a normal Skell would be with only 8 weapons. I think this has 10 or maybe 11 weapons. The MX Sniper Beam Rifle. Here you can see fuel tanks for extra mobility and lots more thrusters. This is the Zweihan Quarterer super weapon. Shotgun sidearm. So there was actually a piece missing from this. I don't know what happened to it, so I just threw on a substitute piece without coloring on it for now. This is the drones. One of the strongest, if not the strongest, Skell weapon in the game. Is just so overpowered. A shield based off of the Unicorn Gundam's Gatling shield. This is the only one that's not based off a weapon in Xenoblade X. Beam saber. Thermal crackers for spare weapons. Beam Gatling. So this one's mostly functional. The gears don't quite line up perfectly, but if you press on it, it can rotate. Besides just turning this by itself, you can rotate it by turning this gear here if you press on it the right way. But it doesn't line up perfectly. Couldn't find any other gears that worked for this, so this was the best I could do. And thermal S-missiles. Now here it is without all the weapons on it. Some of them are too difficult to remove, mainly just the ones in the hands, so I left those on. So the feet were a little complicated to make to get it to be stable enough. Kind of had to fiddle around with a combination of Technic parts and regular bricks in order to get these claw-style feet to work out. So I can't really explain the principle behind it, but I just know it works. And then in the back of the legs, there's also some Technic parts there for stability. That way it can hold up all the weight of those weapons on it. The connection points for the arm weapons are hard to get out, so I just left those in. One thing I would have loved to do, but I don't think it's quite possible unless I just rebuilt it from scratch, would be to include an actual cockpit for a minifigure. But because of all the bionicle parts that I used for making this, that wouldn't be possible to make it with the way it's currently built. I'd probably have to completely rebuild the entire torso from scratch in order to incorporate a cockpit. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but one of my cats is complaining in the background. Probably looking for food. Look at the head. So as part of making it more of a high mobility looking version, I doubled up on whatever these things are supposed to be, the main thrusters, I guess. I added 2 of them. And then also put thrusters under the wings. So when the weapons are not on it, the wings can fold out all the way. And then fold down. So they can fold down all the way when the weapons are equipped, but when they're equipped, they can't fold up all the way. And lastly, a quick look over at all the different weapons. So we have the arm-mounted minigun. Back-mounted thermal S missiles. This one's pretty simple, just kind of blocky. The shoulder-mounted shoulder-mounted chain gun. The shoulder-mounted beam missiles, or HB missiles. And yeah, there's really nothing to these. Those were just really thrown together. The back-mounted Zweihan quarterer swords. So these can be popped off, and if I took the weapons out of the arms, these could be put into the hands. If I wanted to do that. Back-mounted beam Gatling. If anyone with more Technic experience knows of a better way to build this same kind of shape and size while making the gears actually work, like if you know a better gear piece that I could look for, then please let me know, because I'd like to make this a little more functional instead of having to just press on it in order to get it to rotate. I'd like it to just be able to rotate easily. The drones, so these can pop off. Unicorn Gundam style Gatling shield. And lastly, this one is the most functional weapon. I made it so it can pop out the way it does in game. The beam sniper rifle also can be equipped into the hand. I don't know why it's so squeaky. So that's it for my Formula Skell model. Next week I'll have another Skell model that I made, the Andusius. If you watch the end, comment Blossom Dance down below. Let me know which of the weapons is your favorite if you have one. And see you next time!